Take a moment, find your center. Establish your center in your spine, in your breath. Close your eyes and take a moment to come home deeply, here and now, to be at home without knowing where you are. Close your eyes and slow down your breathing. Slow down your inner rhythm. The musician must attune the instrument before playing. Now, if you're going to play music, it's your responsibility that you have to tune yourself before playing, otherwise you could upset the whole thing. No? You're responsible for tuning your instrument. You're also responsible to warm up before you play. The reasonable thing to do before you play is to warm up. If you warm up before you play, you're going to play better. The same is true of sports, in a sport. If you warm up before you play, that's a reasonable thing to do. And in the same way, if it's possible to warm up before life, before we engage in the day, before we go about our daily duties, if we can take a moment to tune our bodies, hearts, and minds, our nervous system, our blood, our cells, our organs, our inner rhythm, if it's possible, then we should do it, for sure. Because to be in shape, to be in tune, then it makes the whole process so much more enjoyable. And so, since the ancient time, the yogis have been sharing these simple understanding and tools for tuning your instrument, to be in tune with life, to be in tune with yourself, to be in tune here and now. Most of our life is focused on then and there. The goal is somewhere else. So, this is why we recommend to take a little time each day, to take a few minutes each day. The recommendation we've been giving the last few years is to dedicate 2% of your time and energy back into yourself, to nourish your garden. 2% of 24 hours is 30 minutes. So 30 minutes. 30 minutes you can invest in yourself. And in 30 minutes you can do approximately 10 to 12 minutes of movement, 5 to 6 minutes of breathing, and another 12 minutes of stillness or meditation. This is sufficient to keep this, to maintain this aliveness. Like in the garden, you spend a few minutes each day in the garden to water the garden, to pick the dead flowers, to pull off any pests or weeds, to water and give the proper nourishment to the soil. Then the garden is flourishing, the garden is growing itself. So this is like a basic gardening, to, instead of being hard on ourselves all the time, and the negative and pressure, which we're doing, is just to take a little bit of time outside of the day, instead of to be hard on ourselves, to nourish yourself with love, with breath. Just by breathing, that itself is the love. It's not that we have to like write Valentine's Day cards and send presents to ourselves to love ourselves. But it simply means to give attention to yourself, to give time to yourself, to give permission to yourself. This is the greatest act of love. And so if we start each day by loving ourselves, by connecting with the elements and nature, by awakening the blood and nervous system, the water, air, fire, all this within us, then for sure it's going to enhance our experience of life. But we don't have to, it doesn't have to be a hypothesis. We can experiment, we can find out for ourselves. This is the key. From the beginning, yoga is a path of experiential knowledge. We must find out for ourselves. No, by experimentation, through self-experimentation, we come to see if the way that we breathe affects our mood. Does the way that I breathe affect my emotions, my energy levels, my communication? Is a possibility, strong possibility. What about the food that I eat? How is that affecting my digestion? How is that affecting my sleep? How is it affecting my mood, my hormonal rhythm, my emotions? All of these things we can experiment and find the optimal way for ourselves in this moment, in this stage of life. Right? We go through many different stages in our lifetime, and so that's why we recommend to pay attention to yourself, to give love, attention to yourself, not just to this ideal self who we're supposed to be, this idea in the future that I fix this and do this and change this. All our attention is on this false self. We're worshiping some false idea of self in the future, and thus making this current self, our real self, our present self, making it wrong. Not good enough. I'm not good enough. The good one is over there, somewhere over there. And so in this way, we cut ourselves off from the love and the presence, because the goal is over there, and so here is not good enough. Here is not important. And so part of this process is shifting the focus of life from that life is over there, happiness is over there, peace, success, everything is over there, either in the future or the past, to that life is here and now. It's a completely different orientation, a completely different focus, completely different process of giving importance and value. And so if we can, at least for a few minutes, or maybe even an hour or two per day, be more focused on the here and now than the then and there, then you make so many incredible discoveries each day. Because here and now, life is teaching us. Life is, this is the place where we can learn, where we can grow, where we can laugh, where we can play. Is here and now, not in the idea of the past or the idea in the future. And so this present moment is life. And that's why we recommend taking time each day to tune yourself, to clean. It's a tuning, like you tune the strings on the guitar, and the guitar is in tune. So we have this tuning at the level of a physical body, the vital body or heart and mind. All three of these we have to tune. But we can also call this a kind of cleaning, cleansing. Like you wear your clothes and then the clothes are dirty. So you're gonna wash your clothes and then the clothes are clean. When the clothes are clean, you put them on and it feels very nice. But if you were to put dirty clothes on every day, again and again, and they get more and more dirty, then you're not gonna feel very, very free. You're not gonna feel very, it doesn't feel nice. Like getting into dirty sheets again and again, and they just get dirtier and dirtier. In the same way, if we never clean our minds, if we never clean our hearts, then it's like wearing old clothes. It becomes so heavy and dirty, and it's very difficult to feel that fresh and alive and free. And so that's why we recommend every day, you take a shower every day. You know, some dust, some sweat. But this is just the surface. The clothes are on the surface. The skin is just the surface. The teeth are just the surface. So at the core, at the depths, our minds are getting so dirty every day. So many thoughts, conflicting thoughts and negative thoughts, and inside out and back and forth and spinning around again and again. So many traps. Same with our heart, our emotions, reactions, our mood, our desires, everything just like a constant storm. And our body as well. The body is not just the surface of the skin, but to clean the body means cleaning the blood, the cells, the organs, the hormones, all of this. And so if we take time each day to purify, to filtering all these heavy emotions and thoughts, filtering back into this pure essence of life. At the core is only this pure essence. And on the surface, we have all of these likes and dislikes and good and bad, everything. So through this process of purification, it's like you're digesting the food and turning the food, you get rid of the waste. Most of the food that you eat is waste. Most of it. Only very little bit is going to be like the power, nourishment. In the same way, we have to filter all these experiences and thoughts and emotions every day. Then we have to digest that, get rid of the waste. Most of it is waste. Only keep the very essence. That essence becomes part of you. Right? So we don't have to remember. In the same way, you eat the food. Do you remember what you ate 2 weeks ago for lunch, 3 months ago, and 2 days for dinner? Even 5 days ago for breakfast, what did you eat? Right? You eat food every day. And whether it's the best meal or the worst, whatever it is, you forget it. You have to forget it. If you don't forget the food that you're eating, you can never appreciate the next meal. If you're always thinking about that best meal you ate, then you can never appreciate this meal. In the same way, every day we have so many experiences, we have to digest them. If it gets stuck, if we can't digest, then it becomes like a kind of a knot, a constipation, a cancer. And so it's so important that we're able to digest, absorb, integrate, filter all of the thoughts, emotions, and experiences in order to be present, to live, and that experience is all of that we're turning into compost. Everything, we're turning into we have to digest and turn into energy to fuel us, to nourish us, and to inspire us on the path. And so that's why we recommend to set up a daily practice. The same, like you brush your teeth, take a shower, wash your hair. This is part of hygiene. So what we're saying is that this movement, breath, and stillness, or the yoga, asana, pranayama, meditation, is also part of a daily hygiene. It's not like an extra, like a hobby on the side, but in order to maintain a healthy body, heart, and mind, we must take time each day to tune, to clean, to awaken the life within us. And this life, the life in your blood, in your glands, in your spine, is also the real world. This is part of the hypothesis that the real world is not just what we see outside, the modern world of banks and electricity and internet and everything. For sure that's real. But also this inner world is equally real. And so by giving attention and care, the same like we would to a garden, you are a garden. Your body is a living garden. It's alive. Every moment it's alive. Your heart is a living garden. Your heart is alive. Every moment it's growing. Every moment it's dying. Your mind is also alive. And so we need to nourish this aliveness every day as part of the rhythm of life. The same like every day, you brush your teeth, you take a shower, you get dressed. At the end of the day, you also take a shower and clean yourself. This is part of the rhythm. We eat the meal 3 times a day. You go to sleep. All have a rhythm. And so part of that rhythm is that cleansing or nourishing or integration. Making time intentionally to integrate, to be present, to breathe. It used to be part of our daily life. No, in the past, this was woven into the fabric of life. But now, at the modern time, we don't have time for anything. No, we have, and so we no longer, also in the modern world, we're no longer taking care of the basic needs and necessities that all the other species on the planet are. All the species are doing the food, finding the food, are making a shelter, are taking care of their young, are protecting themselves. Basic functions of life at a microscopic level to the macroscopic level. But now as humans, we're no longer responsible for any basic functions of life, like making the food, growing the food, making our clothing, building our homes, protecting ourselves, raising our children. All the basic functions are done by someone else so that we have time to do what we feel like. But as a result, there's no more meaning to be part of life. We're no longer, like, we're on the sideline and life is going on. And so this disconnection from the basic function and rhythm of life, from creating and being part of life, has left us with all this free time, so to speak, but it's stolen from us a deeper meaning and connection in simply being part of life. And so this is why we stress the simple, like to be connected in the simple moment, to spend time in nature, to walk and be silent by the river, in the forest, in the mountain, if possible to be barefoot, and to feel, to breathe, to listen to the different rhythms of life. In the modern time, we take for granted that humans are it's like humans are great and the rest is kind of stupid and dirty, and it's like nature that's like here to support us. But this is a really terrible misunderstanding of the wholeness or the oneness or this interrelated web of connection on the planet. And so as a result, we've become disconnected from the rhythm of life. And so that's why things like spending time in nature is the great healer. Nature is the guru, nature is the mother, nature is the beauty, nature is so much we can learn from nature. In fact, this is 100% nature. My body, my arm, the blood, the cells, everything is nature. So my own self is nature. And so this is why spending time in nature helps to retune ourselves with the rhythm of life. The key is not tuning though. The key is the state of being in tune. Right? The yoga is not the process of arriving, but the yoga is this state of being, the state of wholeness, the state of interconnected wholeness and oneness, where I am no longer at the center of the universe. Right? This is the difference. Normally the ego perspective, I am on the stage and everything is relating to me. Everything is has meaning in relation to me because I'm at the center, right? But this state of yoga, this state of presence and wholeness, it's not about me. No, it's a holistic experience or relationship. And so this is why we're focused on this state of in-tuneness, this state where you feel light, your body, your heart, your mind are very light, like you're floating. Right? It's a very quiet and joyful and peaceful and alive. And this is a state of presence. This is the state of being in tune. It's not complicated. Every day, everything is so complicated. The past, trying to figure out how to weave together the past, and trying to project and to plan for the future is very, very complicated. But when you're in tune, then you're just present. It's very simple. It's very simple. There's nothing to calculate, nothing to figure out. It's just being present in the flow of life. So we must not get obsessed with the process of tuning, but instead with the state of being in tune, to be able to recognize this state of in-tuneness. And the more and more that you tune yourself and anchor this state of in-tuneness, then it can happen anytime, anywhere. But if you're never in tune, then it's unlikely that all of a sudden you come in tune. If we're never taking care, then it's highly unlikely that all of a sudden we just trip and all of a sudden we're in tune with ourselves, with life. But if we take time every day to tune ourselves again and again and again, and this becomes a habit, it becomes familiar, then automatically the habit is to be in tune, not to be distracted and confused and lost and like this living in the past and future. This is now a habit because we repeat it again and again. But we want to replace the habit of being out of tune, of being uncentered, with the habit of being centered or in tune. And that in-tuneness, it's not a philosophy or a rule of how to behave, it's a connection, it's a kind of vibration, a kind of tension. This is why we're saying pay attention to the sensation, to your breath, to the rhythm. Little by little, you come into the zone, you get in the zone. Like when playing sports. Now we can say to be in the flow, to be in the moment, it's like to be in the zone. You're not thinking about the past and the future, you're like locked in, you're focused, you're energized, like this, to be in the zone. So that's what we're training. To be in the zone, to be present in the daily life. Right? In the sports game, they blow the whistle and then boom, okay, switched on, everyone's switched on. But now, this present moment, the game is now, this moment. And so, bringing that same intention, intensity, focus, depth into the moment, into each moment. We can train that. We can train that instead of being distracted and bored and restless and all over the place, right? We simply train the habit of being centered and focused, and it's through the breath, by working with the spine and the breath. Then we can activate this state of deep presence, like the roots, like a plant that's rooted deeply in the earth gets so much nourishment and it can grow so healthily. In the same way, through this process of activating your nervous system, your blood, your spine, your breath, and we become deeply rooted, deeply grounded in this moment, within yourself. And then we start to flourish. Spontaneously, organically. We don't need to direct the way life is growing. Life knows exactly how to grow. Your body knows how to beat your heart, how to grow your cells, everything. Right? Life knows what to do. So simply we need to make ourselves accessible, right? To be open, to be receptive to the flow of life. And this is meditation too. Meditation is this like dropping the control and the tension, right, and allowing for the life force to move within you, to awaken, to blossom. Like the plant is growing and growing and then blossoming, like a fern. It's all curled up on itself, and then the power energy is moving up and it's opening. The same way we need to blossom to open. And so the key is the spine and the breath. Then you're able to activate this connection between the base of your spine and the top of your head. And then there's a certain kind of antenna here, an antenna that's going down into the ground. And you're able to access the power and the wisdom and the light, the beauty, all the Shakti, because you're activating the subtle channels, so to speak. And so the yoga is also refining your nervous system and breathing to a very high level so that you can be receptive, so that you can be present. The focus is always on this receptivity and presence. And so we have a few questions today. Let's see what it is. How can I be at peace with time? Time is the mind. The past is in your mind, and the future is in your mind. Because the past, whatever idea you have about the past, the little story, is not the past. The past is everything everywhere. The past is everything that's happened everywhere. We can see a little tiny fragment of that, like a speck of dust. Of the past, we see a speck of dust, and based on that, we cut little pieces and we weave them together in our minds, and we call that the past. But it's not the past. It's not the past. Even our idea, our story about the past is always changing. And no one else can share our past. Even someone living with us, the idea of the past in their mind is completely different. The interpretation, the emotions, everything. So nobody, my idea of the past Nobody shares that, nobody can see that, nobody knows it. Even I don't know it. It's continually changing. And it's a tiny speck of nothing. What I remember of myself is the past. Myself, it's the everything. The same is true of the future. I have my own little dream delusion about the future based on my calculations and probability of the past. I weave and I create this dream about the future. Again, nobody can share that, nobody sees it, nobody knows it. So time is mind. The present moment is, there's no time. In the present moment, it's timelessness. So when you're present, then automatically you're at peace. When you're not thinking, as soon as the mind stops, automatically you feel peace. Peace is not the result of like stop fighting or some idea or war. Peace is this state of being. And so when you're outside of time, immediately you experience peace. As long as you're in time, the past or the future, then you can never be at peace. It's impossible. Because my idea of the future is not the future. And it never will be, no matter how hard I try. But I'm attached. I'm expecting this future. I have my preferences. And so it creates a tension and a kind of, this whole process. And so deep down there's a tension. Because I know what I want in my mind can never really be. Even if it matches more or less, it's not what I think. And so the past also is not what I think. And so deep down we know, and so we can never be at peace because we know that we're living in a fantasy, in an illusion. So the only way to be at peace is to be present. No, even if you have the best idea of the future, then comes with it the fear that it doesn't work out or that you lose it. You see, even with the best idea about the past or the future, it's accompanied by the fear of losing it. And so there's no peace. There's no possibility of peace in the past or the future, ever. Ever, ever. The only peace is in the present moment when there's no thinking. The mind is always in the past. Mind can never be in the present. Like a sports game, you have the sports game, they're playing the game. On the sidelines, the sportscaster is sitting, watching the game and then talking about the game. By the time they see it and interpret it and speak it, it's gone. It's not present moment anymore. The game is going. In the same way, the mind is sitting on the sidelines watching life go by. By the time the mind can see and perceive and interpret and speak about it, it's no longer the present moment. You can't see the present moment, only the past. You can only know the past. The present moment is unknown, unknowable, cannot be known. If it's known, it's already in the past. That which is present is unknown. So to be present means no mind, no thinking, no knowing, no I. As soon as the I subsides, even for a split second, immediately you feel the wave of peace, of happiness. So the key is, by balancing your breath and centering yourself, then you become present, then automatically you feel peace because you're outside of time. But as soon as you're inside of time, then there's no peace. Can you describe what's the purpose of self-inquiry and how to get started? What's the difference between Atma vichara and dhyana? Yeah. So in this path of cleansing or tuning, there are 4 major paths of yoga. Ashtanga yoga, vinyasa yoga. No, I'm kidding. The four major paths of yoga are the bhakti yoga, which is the yoga of devotion of the heart, right? So of cultivating this sensitivity and awakening of the heart, which is illustrated in paths like the Hare Krishna movement, right? Even Christianity is very kind of this devotional path, path of bhakti, path of heart, path of service. Then we have Dhyana Yoga, is the path of non-duality, transcending the mind. Through the self-investigation, through these different processes, we see through the mind. So, and then we have the Karma Yoga, the path of service. So instead of obsessing about ourselves all the time, we think about someone else. We think about others and serve others. And then finally, the fourth path is the path of what's called Kriya Yoga, or we can say Raja Yoga, is the path of effort. So the path of purification by going through this process of all the sutras and this purification, then arriving at that path through purification. So on the path of purification, meditation or dhyana, which is this absorbing back into the source. Right? Generally, life is expressing itself, is expanding, is going out. You have a seed, the seed is growing into the tree. Right? This is the normal process, but in a meditation, we reverse the process and go from the full expression back into the source, back into the seed. And so, this is a kind of death process by which we reverse the flow of energy, and in this through that process of coming back into this, to the essence of life, the source of life, then you get how to say, it fills you with a certain type of vibration or light. It activates more subtle channels in the nervous system and starts a certain kind of different process somehow, like it. After tapping into that source, then a different process starts. Now, the Atma vichara, or the self-inquiry, is the path that was illustrated by different jnanis, like Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj, Papaji, right? And this is the understanding of essentially that who am I, right? It can be resumed in this question, who am I, or really, what is this I? Sometimes we misinterpret because we think, who am I? Am I the body? Am I a man? Am I a woman? Where am I? Who am I? Right? And we want to try to find which I that I am. Who am I? Right? Because when I go to sleep at night, in the dreaming state, it's completely different. Whereas this I that exists during the day, this personality with the roles and the past and responsibilities, where does that go? At night, I close my eyes, I start to dream, and something different's coming. Completely different. Then, in the deep sleep state, no dreams, no body, no mind, where does this I go? And so if this I, what they're saying is that the true I must be continuous. But this is always changing. This I is always changing. And so through the process of investigating and removing, right, this path is by removing what I am not, then what remains is what I am. And so the goal of this practice of who am I is not to find the answer, but it's as we ask ourselves, then there's a gap, because you can't find who am I. And so by not finding it, then that space of not knowing, that is who you are. In that space of not knowing, you can be who you are. So the purpose of Atma vichara, of the self-inquiry, is not that you can find it, like, I got it, right? But that by cutting to the core, by removing all those layers, by seeing clearly through that which you are not, then you get to the point where you can't go any further, where there's nothing, you can't say anything that is or that isn't. It becomes suspended. In that moment, if you don't do anything, if you let go, then you're free. Because this I, this ahamkara, the ego, is not a thing. It's not, there's no not actually, there's nothing, it's like a shadow. It's not something that it's a misunderstanding. And so really both of these are complementary. In this approach of integral yoga, we need all the tools we can get. We need to awaken our hearts. We need to cultivate this sensitivity and aliveness and connection with the beauty in the nature and in ourselves and in others. We need to forget about ourselves a little bit. The best thing you can do to be yourself is forget about yourself. All day, every day, we're so obsessed with the minute details of ourselves, but it's not helping. It's just making it, we're just getting more and more stuck because it's so complicated. Best thing you can do is forget yourself for a moment, right? You can use your energy to serve others or to create something or to breathe or chanting anything. In this moment, then automatically the life forces flowing, you can be yourself. So all the practices we need, the bhakti, we need to activate our bodies, move the body. Really, we don't need the crazy yoga asana. Nowadays, everyone's doing lots and lots of very intense yoga asana. And what's needed is to tune your nervous system and connect your blood, your organs, activate your cells, your mind like this. That's needed. But then what the suggestion is to play sports, to dance, to go hiking and be in nature. This is the physical exertion that comes through and this aliveness, because the yoga asana is still very rigid and fixed. Do like this, am I doing it right? Whereas the dance is free from within. And so when you can tap into that freedom, then your body is moving in many different ways. Same like playing a sport. Playing the sport is improvisation. And so you're so present and focused, alive, and moving in all these dynamic ways. And so strongly recommended, tune your body, heart, and mind every day. Activate your breath, focus your attention, and dissolve yourself back into the source of being. And then spend time in nature, dance, play sports, connect with others. This is also an essential part of the yoga, this process of tuning and aliveness. But now everyone wants to get everything, cram it all into like 45 minutes or an hour in a room, everyone running around like this. Very difficult to, anyway, we need to move our bodies and you're gonna feel good. It's important to move your body every day, but we can easily, at home, take a few minutes each day, like we brush our teeth and take a shower, but it's an inner cleansing, different kind of cleaning. But we should see it the same like, you would never not shower for a week or two in a row under normal circumstances. You would never wear the same dirty clothes for a couple weeks every day. No? So in the same way we have to feel, why? I can't not clean my mind. How can I do that? It's not good for me or the people around me. If I don't clean my heart, then I'm going to be acting not with the frustration and anger, all this built up, pent up emotions, everything, then it's not going to be useful. It's not going to be efficient. Neither for me or the people around me. I don't want to give that. That's not the gift I want to offer to the people around me. So even from that perspective, we can understand and we can take the time each day to clean our bodies, hearts, and minds as an offering. What is the main purpose of fasting? And advantages of fasting. Big part of the reason we're out of tune, out of balance is because of overeating, over speaking, and overthinking, overdoing like this, constantly. And nowadays we have a food, anything we want, anytime, all the time, that deliver it right to us. You can go anywhere and buy anything, any time of year, all the time, anytime, as much as you want, 24 hours a day. And so now that we have so much, everything's so convenient and everywhere, then we're completely out of rhythm. No, the food has not become hunger anymore. Food is desire, food is frustration. We're eating out of emotion, we're eating out of control, we're eating so many things. It's all desire. The food is no longer medicine. Our food is totally poison. We're totally poisoning ourselves. Not just with the food, but the everything. And so the fasting, this is kind of experimentation. We have foods fasting, speech fasting, silence, sleep fasting, right? By restricting the food, there are so many benefits, not just physical, but first of all, physical benefit, right? The fasting is so important. We're so, in general, most of us in the modern time have compromised digestion, which means that either the rhythm of intestines is off, and so we get different kind of cramps or constipation. And even then, the absorption of the minerals and the nutrients in like this is compromised because of a diet and eating and everything. And so, by taking away the food for some days, then it allows the body to go into a different process, healing process, at a cellular level. Right, but also the intestines for them to release, and the whole body becomes supercharged. You'll find your senses, seeing, smelling, tasting, everything becomes so heightened, your hormones, the power level, everything. And so just physically speaking, the fasting is so powerful for your organs, for your blood, for your nervous, everything. But it's not just there, right? Because in the fasting, by restricting the food, then the ego starts to freak out. Like, no, I want to do what I want to do. I can eat what I want. And you get to see the wild ego freaking out. And by not reacting or by staying with it, then it like releases all of this power, this resistance power. We have so much power that's trapped in all of resistance. We have so many kinds of resistance for different things in life. And just underneath, it's like a zit. And when it pops, when that resistance pops, then it releases so much willpower, so much Shakti. And so the fasting will increase your creativity, your sensitivity, your so many, it becomes so sensitive in a positive way. Because we're dulled down and dumbed down because of all this constant food. It's very tamasic, it's very heavy. We're just numbing ourselves with the food, with constant food. And so the fasting is such a beautiful process on so many levels. Now, it's recommended, of course, while fasting, you must do colonics or enema or take a laxative because you want to flush your system out. Sometimes when you stop eating, your body and it just clamps up, it freaks out like, ah. And so that's why using laxative or doing some kind of colon cleansing is number one, is super important. And flush yourself with water. Drink lots and lots of water. Right. Also, ideally during this time, you can be like at the beach or something, get the sunbathing, spend time in the ocean, do massage every day, do the steam and sauna every day. If you can get acupuncture, some journaling, meditation, all these things. This combined oil bathing, all these practices, body scrubbing, all these things, because it's a full cleanse. It's like a full release and cleanse and rebirth process. I also recommend, personally, I do not like water fasting. It can be very aggressive and it depends on the body type. But something like coconut fasting, which means drink as many coconuts as you want. Or watermelon fasting, eat as much watermelon, or apple fasting. Those, one of the three. Right? And that you can very easily do for 3 to 5 days, even 5 to 7 days. You'd be surprised. After a few days, you have more energy than when you're eating. You usually think, oh, fasting, I'm going to be exhausted and tired. But actually, it's a much purer energy. And we have so much leftover food and things to burn and release that easily for days, you can maintain a very smooth process of cleansing, of fasting. And there are immense benefits. It should be done at least once every couple months, just part of regular cleaning and cleansing. Or it can be done every day, because really we don't need 3 meals a day. It's been found ideal, 2 meals a day is optimal. And then we give our system a rest and a chance to heal and circulate and digest. And so this intermittent eating or intermittent fasting, which is where you have a fixed period of eating and a period of not eating. And this can, playing around with this as well. We must experiment. You must experiment and see with your diet. Now, often we take for granted or we're unconscious, but by keeping a journal of things you eat and how you go to the toilet, by observing very carefully, by eliminating things and slowly reintroducing them, No, we can find a diet that is supportive of us. You know, you have to experiment and don't take for granted, especially if you're having problems with the digestion or diet. And you can experiment and do simple things, just steam vegetables for a week, you know, macrobiotic diet, eating rice and vegetables, taking things out the dairy or beans, and then slowly experimenting with what works for you. It's also really good, the fasting, if you do a period of 3 to 5 days fasting and clean the slate, then you can slowly reintroduce things and then see how it feels, see how you react, see how it's affecting you. You have to take this experimental approach because nobody can do it for you. No, otherwise they tell you different things, like each diet says completely different things. From Ayurvedic to macrobiotic to the raw food and living foods and then the keto diet and like this, like it couldn't be more different and conflicting in everything that everyone says. And so we see it's not like a rule, but we have to pay attention. We have to be part of it. We have to be part of life. We have to be part of our own health. We can't just wait for the answers from someone else. So this is an essential part of yoga, that this is experiential process. You have to experience for yourself. How to manage difficult emotions when you're on the path, like anger. So we don't need to manage emotions. What we need is to tune our system such that we're able to process and digest whatever's coming without getting stuck. Because the different emotions will come. Anger, jealousy, pride, all of these are coming all the time. Right? But when your system is grounded, when you're grounded, when your breath is alive, when you're stable, then it comes and then it goes. It doesn't get stuck. Right? It's not like we need to fight off the emotions, because the emotion is just your own energy that's getting caught in different patterns. And so this is why the filtering process that we were talking about earlier, right? You have a dirty water, you filter it, you get the pure water. In the same way, our energy is getting diluted with the different emotions. So if we filter that out, then we get that pure life energy back again. And so the anger is not the problem. Because the anger is the life force, right? But there's some kind of blockage. For some reason, the things moving in us are blocked. And so that's why we want to take time each day, right, to train your nervous system, your breath, your spine. And then gradually, you're able to, like these things move through, you don't even notice. It comes and goes. Right? But if you never train regularly and just all of a sudden you're angry and you try to deal with that anger, then it's almost impossible, because you don't have that training or the knowing of how to do anything else with it. So it's in an emergency situation. People say this too, like, I've heard breathing is useful. When I get stressed out or anxious, how can I breathe? But the point is, if you don't have that as part of your regular daily rhythm, then very difficult to access that in the crisis time. That's the reason why in the army, right, they're doing such intense training to the point it becomes automatic. So that on the battlefield, right, in the crisis situation, you don't have to think automatically. This is the same with yoga. It's that same training. It must become automatic to be present. It must be automatic to be grounded. It must be automatic to be in tune. You have to train to that level. Because if you try to do that in the middle of the battlefield, you have no training. You have no idea. How can you possibly do it? That's why we recommend to spend a little time each day, just like 20 minutes, 30 minutes each day, to tune yourself, to focus, to center, like taking a shower. It's so nice in the morning to take a shower. You feel awake, alive, ready for life. At the end of the day, after a long day, again, you take a shower, right? To get that heaviness, the dust from the day. It feels great. So this is the same. It's like taking a shower in the morning, to organize, to activate, and at the end of the day to clean. How to approach the practice of yoga and meditation on the days when it seems inaccessible to reach the deeper level. Should we just push through it, or when it feels like superficial physical activity without this deeper connection, we should just let it go and try again later? Good question. So the general approach is that you have a fixed daily rhythm. Same thing every day. So for example, asana pranayama meditation, I have 8 postures. I do them every day, the first one to the last one in the same order. Ideally, I'm doing it for the same time. So if it's 1 minute and I have a timer, 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, 1.5 minutes. It's the same. Then the breathing exercise. Okay, I'm doing these 3, same order, same time, meditation, 15 minutes, 20, whatever it is. And that's fixed. Days that I have more time, I can always do more. I can always add more. I can do what I feel like. I can explore other things. I can go deeper. I can extend the meditation. I can do more. But I don't do less. I never do less. I make a commitment. There's this certain training framework that I'm doing, and I commit to that. And so once you've done that 20 times, 30 times, 40 times, even you're feeling hungover and you didn't sleep at all and you get out, you drag yourself to the mat, then without fail, after 2 or 3 minutes, you're locked in the zone. Because it's a habit, it just becomes a habit. So whether you feel good or feel bad or this or that, you have to, anyway, we have to learn to be present. The depth, the deep level, we don't even know that. The thing is, even if we're not feeling the deep level, that benefit is going on at the deepest level. So we never know what's going on. The same way you eat the food, your food is digesting. You don't know really what's going on. Is the digestion going well? How much are we getting good enzymes, getting the right proteins and minerals? We have no idea. Never we know what's going on inside. Even we're dying. We don't know the body is doing things like this. We have no idea. So really the deep level, we don't know that. We can't know that with our conscious mind. No, but we can see the effects. This is what I want to get to, right? Because the meditation is the same. Whether if we think it feels good or doesn't feel good, it doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with the deep level. Even when I'm focused, or when I'm unfocused and my mind is thinking, it doesn't matter. At the deep level, this is where the real work is going on. And you have to trust that. And so how do you know? How do you know that your practice is benefiting? Because not when you're practicing, but for a month or 2 months like that, then observe your life. If you feel more focused, if you're kinder, more creative, if you're making better decisions, if you're sleeping better, if you're being true to yourself, right? If you feel more alive and relaxed, these are signs the practice is working. It's not about what happens during the practice. Don't give a shit. It doesn't matter what happens during the practice. It's not about the practice. The practice is simply like cleaning, like washing. You wash the clothes. Who cares? Oh, I had fun washing the clothes today. It was boring washing the clothes today. What does it matter? No, the point is that aliveness, that freshness. You can only know by observing your daily life. It has nothing to do with how your practice looks. Because you can touch your toes. Now it's a great practice. Doesn't matter. The key is how the practice informs your daily life. How the practice then helps you to be more present, more stable. To when the uncomfortableness arises, not to run away and give up, but to be present. Right? The depth of the practice, or a good practice, has nothing to do with what the practice looks like. It's not a show or performance. It's the opposite. Yoga has nothing to do with the show or performance or competition. A good practice is not more complicated postures. Everything is the depth of the presence. So when you become quiet, when you can be yourself without having to explain yourself, you just feel yourself. That's the sign the practice is working. Okay, one more question. What are the advantages of Hatha Yoga? I don't know the advantage Hatha Yoga. Movement, breath, and stillness. You need to move your body. You need to get all these layers. You need to be connected. Your blood, your nervous system, your organs, your lymphatic system, digestion, the sleep, the cellular rhythm. All of this needs to be flowing in a smooth, harmonious way. So if you're all twisted and hunched over all day and like this and overthinking and eating so much and not going to the toilet, then the whole system is like it tied up in knots. And so the ancient yogis, the seers, the rishis, had developed different systems or ways of cleansing and activating the nervous system and everything. And so it's not even worth it. You know, there are different approaches to the movement and blah, 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 but it's not even worth it. It's better, we have to understand in a global context how everything fits together. Just to take one part of a whole system and hyper-specialize in this and that, it doesn't make any sense. So it's not even worth putting too much attention or energy into the differences in that. But the key is that the practice is focused on awareness. So the practice, it's not about doing the practice correctly, it's about maintaining awareness despite the postures. Right? We're talking about poise, not about pose. We're not striking a pose. The idea is not strike a pose, take a picture. The idea is that we're training ourselves that we're poised, that we have that depth and presence in our poise, which is not a pose. You see, it's about that presence. And so, in Hatha Yoga, whatever, I don't even know. Who knows what to call anything anymore. But the point is that the focus is cultivating that presence. And that the posture is just a challenge. Can you maintain your presence despite the posture? It's not about a choreography, and look at me, I'm doing this choreography. It's about the presence, means the breath, the nervous system, the focus, attention, all of these things. So, Hatha Yoga, they say like sun and moon. And that's what we're saying, like you have the activation, is the sun, then you have the absorption, which is the moon. So you have the activation, which is the doing, and absorption, which is being. And so doing and being are merging. And this is the Hanta, the sun and the moon or whatever, the fire and the water. Something like that. Which yoga style is the most suitable for calming down? No style. There's no style. There's no yoga style. There's the yoga, it means to be in tune, and then there's and that's it. When you're in tune, then you're going to be calm. When you're in tune, means when your body, heart, and mind are alive and connected and balanced, then you're going to be calm. But if you're chasing a style, this style, that style, you go to a class, you never become, the class is always like, that's the trouble, is the yoga is not made to be in a class. Yoga is made to be done like in oneself. Because in the class, you're always looking around and competing, I'm good enough, I'm not good, and trying to keep up in this and that. So it's difficult to calm down. Of course, we have yin yoga or restorative yoga. I mean, in my opinion, slower, longer holds, this is good for working with the nervous system. Kundalini yoga, taught by Yogi Bhajan, which is doing different movements and breathing, this is also very good. But in general, what I say is a holistic approach, not a yoga style, but a holistic understanding of your body, heart, and mind, these different layers and how they work together and how you can tune them. This is going to be most effective. Okay, last two. What is your approach or idea about dreams? So, earlier we were talking waking, dreaming, sleeping. These are the three major states. The waking state, the dreaming state and the sleeping state, deep sleep state. Deep sleep state, no dreams, no mind. Waking and dreaming, they say that the waking is also a dream. Each day we have many dreams. We have daydreaming, where we're, imagining things, but also our whole life is kind of a dream, an imagining. And at night also, we're dreaming different things, different situations, different scenarios. So by paying attention to the different themes, then we can unlock certain things. It can be useful to work with the dreams. Some people have very vivid dreaming, and so for those people, it can be useful to try to extract certain themes, certain ideas, certain people, and how it relates back to us. Because our unconscious mind, based on daily experiences, projecting it's like a way of like working out or releasing tension or energy through these different stories, whereby we are playing all the characters, right? Each character is a different part of ourself, and the different scenes and different places represent different aspects of ourself. And so if you're skilled at that kind of interpretation or work with different people, I worked with a Jungian projective dream analyst called Jeremy Taylor. I did a 5-day workshop with him back in 2004, 2005. And very interesting approach. He had worked in the prisons for 30 years, getting the dreams from all the prisoners. And it was this approach whereby projective dream analysis. So you're in a group, and one person shares the dream. And then we take their dream as like a myth. They're dreaming not just for themselves, but they're dreaming for the collective. And then each person takes as if they were the main character in the dream, and they interpret it as if they were the main character in that dream, because that dream is like a myth for all of us. And so this is a very interesting approach. I worked with that approach for some time. And so there are different, like this, there are different ways that you can unpack and work with dreams, as long as it doesn't become an excuse to avoid working with life, because really we need to work with our daily life. We need to deal with the themes and situations and relationships that are coming up in our daily life. Right? Oftentimes people are asking, what about after this life or something? But it's just, again, it's a distraction because we don't want to deal with what's going on right here and now. And so the same way, if we were meant to remember our past lives, then this forgetting somehow is necessary in order for us to live the experience we need to live. And in the same way, it's kind of true about dream, because really each night is like a death and a rebirth. And so we have all this, the time is really not what it seems. Our idea of time and linear time. And so the dream is interesting to the degree that it can inspire us to be more alive, that it can inspire us to be more real and to do what we need to do. But if we're using a dream as an excuse, as an escape, then it's not worth it. It's a distraction. We're just distracting ourselves from the real work. The real work is here and now. For sure, the real work is here and now in this moment. Single pointed focus explanation. So, yes. In general, our attention is going out through the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, the skin, right? And we're bringing back a whole bunch of information continuously. And so in a sense, we are like diluted or diffused. Our energy, our attention is diffused. It's going out all over the place. Now, then we have concentration first. Concentrum, right? So instead of going out, our attention is going into one thing, to one place. So maybe I'm focused on this point, like the candle. Now, we're focused on the tip of the candle, right? Or I'm focused on playing the music, or I'm focused on whatever, I'm playing a sport. This is a concentration. This is normal concentration, where instead of our attention being all over, it's more or less directing in one place, outside of ourselves. Then we have there are several layers of concentration, but now we'll go to the one-pointed concentration. So instead of the attention being outside in some activity or a person or an object, now the attention is converging. So instead of going out, it turns in and faces inside at one point. Like a laser, then the full attention energy is focused in this one infinitesimal point. and eventually it becomes very stable, where it's not at first our concentration is wavering, is shaky, is not stable. But then it becomes totally stable, and from there, then you disappear into that point. This is the one-pointed concentration, ekagrata, one-pointed concentration, where the subject and object merge. Right? For concentration, we have, I am concentrating on the symbol, subject, object. Now that the one-pointed concentration, the subject and the object merge. This is the beginning of meditation, non-duality. Last question. The meditation can work in the modern world. If we have so many technology and the phone is like a friend of us, how can meditation be effective? The meditation has nothing to do with these things. It's like the technology is definitely not cleaning our nervous system or our cells. If anything, it's agitating. It's creating more agitation. All of this constant stimulation, flashing lights, the radio waves, this cancer, I mean, everything is, gosh, the technology is creating agitation at the deep level. Now at the surface, maybe it makes things more convenient, like I order my food, I can see my bank. So on the surface, it's making things easier, and it's very convenient, and it's very nice and friendly, like, oh, look, all my friends, they're all right here on the phone, something. But in actuality, the effect of the technology and the speed at which on our nervous system and on our cells and our hormones, right? We can know it because this FOMO. Now so much suicide and depression and anxiety because of looking at these things that we don't have, or we think we have, or we think we want to have, and then we get them, and then what? And so meditation is coming back to the essence of being. That's in that space where we are one with all of the life forms and stuff, and we have that one with our whole self, the same self that was an infant or in a child or all these. So it's that process of deep rooting and connection and presence and wholeness at the essential level within oneself can never be replaced by anything. What could replace that? A pill? Some drugs? Some flashing lights on a screen? Right? So the meditation is the foundation. Meditation, even just because you eat food, then hopefully you can digest it, right? Hopefully you can digest it, and hopefully you can absorb it and then and integrate it. But even if we can do that, even if all the raw material from eating the food we can digest, we have everything, unless we activate those things, then it's not going to express itself. Right? And so the meditation is working at the deepest level of the cells and organs and glands to activate and use the raw materials that have been acquired through the food and things in order to turn that into life and energy and thought. And so meditation is enhancing the functions of your biology and your psychology at every level through this connected, smooth flow, everything. So it's not even, it's essential. For me, meditation is not like an extra, but it's part of the daily nourishment and rhythm of life. Like sleep. Like sleep is important. We don't go out with sleep. Right now that we have computers and everything, we don't need to sleep anymore? No, it's the opposite. And so meditation is the same. Meditation is an essential part of the maintenance at a cellular level, right? At a biochemical level, at the level of your emotions and reactions and desires and memories, at the level of mind. It's a cleansing and purification at all these levels. That nothing can take that place. Okay, enough talking. Let's take a moment again to be quiet. Come back to center. Close your eyes. And then turn your eyes to look up. Find your breath. and slow down. To be present means not thinking, not knowing. In that space, you are present. Inhale deeply. Jatavera Mamaratiano Ninani Vera, Sanabar Shadi Rogani Vishwana Vevasindundrita Chakni, Tam Magnivan Dabasat Valandim, Varochavagnim Arjunadam, Durgan Devi Kim Jaranamaham Rabanya Sudara Senamaha, Agne Tramparayana Asman Svastipirati Rogani Vishwa, Puja Prithvi Bahulana or Vibhavatokayatana Shanyo, Vishwanino Durgahana Vera Sindunanavaridari Parishi, Agne Yatrivan Manasagnan, Magamonia Venatanunam, Pritanajitikim Samunukim Magnikim Movema Paramandaran, Sanambar Shadi Rogani Vishwana Vevasindunrita Tagni, Tam Magnivananda Vasad Valandim, Rochanim Gamale Jurunan, Urgan Devingim Sharanamaham Rapanya Sudara Senamaha, Agne Twamparayana Yosman Swastipirati Rogani Vishma, Purta Prithvi Bahulana or Vibhavatokayatana Yashanyo, Vishwanino Durga Jatavera Sindunanavaridari Parishi, Agneya Trivan Manasangana, Smagamonia Vedatanuna, Britanajitikam Samunagramagnim Movema Paramandaras Nad, Sanapa Shadi Durgani Vishvakshama Devo Aridura Tagni, Pratno Shigamidjo, Advaresha Hanachotana Vyasazatsi, Tanta Agne, Tanavam Piprayasva, Smapachazakirasva, Go Bejutama, Johnny Sik Tandavendra Vishnu, Sanjarema, Nakasya Prishtama Vizambasano, Vaishnavim Lokayamarayan. Om Khatyayanaya Vidmahe Kanyakumari Dhimahi Tanno Durgi Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.